Let's try this again. Let's try this again. If you're a crackhead, you're not saved. If you're a drug head, you're 99% chance you're not saved. If you can't kick a habit, if you don't understand that you need to be in your right mind, that's important to have a sound mind, you're pretty much not saved. You're not saved. You're not saved. You can be in church, you can put a cross out, you can go to Catholic Mass or whatever, but you're not born again. Jesus sets the captives free. If you're an alcoholic and you can't stop, you're not saved because you're a slave to the alcohol instead of being a slave to Jesus. You think you're saved, but you're not saved. You're a hell-bound sinner. If you can't break all chains, if the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. If you can't break all chains, you are not saved. Period. I know that's a controversial thing, but I've been thinking about it. I've been renting to people for a long time. They come up and say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I believe that I stand. They'll use God's name, but they'll never use the name Jesus. They won't say the name Jesus because it gets real. They'll say Jesus if it's a curse word. They hardly ever use the word God unless it's a curse word. Now think about that. They say Jesus as a curse word, but they don't say Jesus to call out to save me. Now what's that about? I know what it's about. They reveal what they are. Why would they say Jesus as a curse word? Why do they call out to Jesus? Why don't they say Muhammad? Why don't they say Buddha? Buddha. Why, instead of saying GD, why don't they say Buddha damn or Muhammad damn? Why don't they say that? Because they're robots. They're slaves of the devil. They're not even speaking from themselves. They're speaking from the devil.
May I take a order?
They're not saved. They're not saved. If you can't break every stronghold, every bond, you're not saved. Jesus breaks all the bonds. You have no stronghold. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's TV. I don't care if it's drinking. I don't care if it's drugging. I don't care what it is. If you can't break the habit, then what is going on? Jesus is stronger than any bad habit out there. Why can't you break it? Who are you rubbing shoulders? Who's messing with your mind? Okay, let's say, if you are saved and you can't break a habit, who are you rubbing shoulders with? Who is enabling that sin? Who is enabling it? See, the only way you can live in that way is some human enabler you. The universe won't enable your insanity. The universe won't enable your laziness. The universe won't enable your blame game. The only place you can be enabled and survive down here is you manipulate another human to enable your stupidity and your insanity, because the universe and God and life in general will not enable it. So the only thing I can figure is you've gaslighted somebody, or future faked somebody, or you have pity partied somebody to enable your sin. Enable your rebellion. Enable a bad habit because you love death. Why do you love death? 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 The only people I know who love death are devils. The non-saved people love death. Well, I can't stop eating sugar. Why? Do you love death or do you love life? It's just sugar. It's just something from the earth. Why can't you stop eating it? Because you're lying to yourself. The devil's a liar. If a person loves death and is a slave to some kind of whatever, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Maybe you're around. Maybe you're rubbing shoulders with a narcissist and they've messed with your mind so much it drove you crazy. I can understand that. Maybe you're being deceived. Maybe you're living in the same house with a witch or a warlock or something. People live together 1 year, 2 years. I mean, let's say 3 months. They're not married. They're living together, have no conviction of sin. 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, and they're not married and have no conviction. What is that about? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then you talk to them and they say, yeah, I'm married. I'm saved. I'm married. So you think they're okay. 5 years later, you find out they're not married. Oh, we're not really married. What? Why would you say you're married if you're not? Because you're convicted. If they're doing that, they're doing other stuff. They're drugging, they're drinking, they're cocaine, something. If you're a crackhead, cocaine head, you're not saved. There's no way. There's no way. It's impossible. It's impossible. You've been lying to yourself. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to wake some people up from the AI flesh mind to show you that your flesh mind is nothing but sin, and this flesh out here, yeah, we all have sin. But if you love death, in other words, we all mess up. We all say things we shouldn't say. We go look at things we shouldn't look at. Go here, talk to people, say a curse word here. But I'm talking about these strongholds that are killing you. I'm talking about strongholds that are actually killing you, and strongholds that are actually so obvious that you know you're a slave to it. If you don't know you're a slave, there's no way that you're free in Christ. When you get free in Christ, you want to be free from everything. You want to be free from Jezebel, from Delilah, from legalists. And I know it's hard to believe that these people exist in your world. I understand. When you got somebody around you, especially if you're raised around, I know it's hard. Maybe I'm talking to a certain age group and above, because I know it's hard. Let's say you were raised in a family that's unsaved, or you were raised in a religious family that were unsaved. That's all you know. That's all you know. And you've never been alone by yourself enough to break free from all the narcissists. And they're at work, they're in the church, they're in the home, they're on the news, they're on the TV, it's the music, it's the media, it's the songs, it's everything. You're surrounded by a narcissistic Jezebel system. So I understand that it's possible that you think being a slave to a Jezebel, or a slave to a narcissist, or a slave to a legalistic church. I know people in legalistic churches right now, and they're miserable. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I asked them, well, why do you go to church if you know it ain't right and you're miserable? And the response is, well, where else do I go to worship? What? What do you mean, where else do you go to worship? Those who worship must worship in spirit and in truth. Don't you have an inner spirit, man? Don't you have the truth? Why do you need a pastor who's a legalist? See, if you're under a legalist, I'm not sitting here saying you got to be perfect. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about if you have a habit that you're a slave to, and you don't know that you're free. You're free from all habits. Sleeping late. You don't have to sleep late. I love to sleep late, but I'm not a slave to that. I'll get up if I have to. If I have a goal or if I have a job, I would rather have a second shift job, but I don't have a second shift. I have a first shift job, so I have to get up. I have to be there. I didn't think Coca-Colas were bad for me. But as soon as I went to the doctor and I realized, hey, I've been lied to, I quit drinking them cold turkey. I didn't know cheeseburgers were really bad for me until I went to the doctor and they said, this is the problem. And I quit cold turkey. Cold turkey, why? Because I'm free in Jesus. I love life. I don't love death. I love life. Do you love life or do you love death? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to wake you up. If you're acting like the lost and you're saved, why? Are you a people pleaser? Are you worried about what they say? Are you a people pleaser? Do you worry about what the lost care? Do you think while they're burning in hell and you face God at the bema seat, they're going to face God at the judgment seat, and you're sitting here saying, and the Lord's going to say, why'd you hang out with the lost? Why'd you go get drunk with the lost? Why did you carouse with the lost people? And you're going to say, well, because I was a people pleaser. Well, wait a minute. Are you a God pleaser or a people pleaser? Are you saved or unsaved? The saved people want to please God no matter how hard it, no matter how much it hurts. It doesn't matter if you're alone. If you're alone, you're not really alone. You're with God. If you're ostracized, it don't matter. If you're ridiculed, if you're shamed, if you're lied about, it don't matter. What matters is Jesus. Jesus is life. I really have come to the conclusion that you can tell who loves life and who loves death. A person who's destroying their temple, a person who hates the truth, a person who hangs out with the lost, a person who's a crackhead, a person who's a drunk, a drug head. They're lost, they're hell-bound. And they don't know it. And they think they're cool. And they're hell-bound. And I just happened to be talking, and I didn't know that guy was walking down the road when I said that. He just heard a sermon. If you're playing the blame game, the shift game, if you're not introspective, if you can't look at yourself, if you're pointing at everybody else, you're lost. If you're a slave to anything but Jesus, you're probably not saved. You just think you're saved. Because Jesus breaks all bonds. All bonds. If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed.